Have you ever changed your mind on a grape variety? You thought that maybe you didn't like it, but it turns out you really do? That happened with me. And in this case, the grape is Falanghina. Falanghina is a white wine grape from Campania in the south of Italy. It's a pretty ancient grape variety, some think that has Greek origins. The grape Falanghina actually is a term to describe two separate varieties, Falanghina beneventana and Falanghina flegrea. The latter was most likely an ingredient in an ancient Roman wine called Falernian. It was a wine that the Romans absolutely loved. They even devised 3 different crews from where the wine should be grown. It was an aged wine, probably oxidized, probably maturized, could be dry or a little bit more sweet. Probably could be similar to a modern day Madeira sherry. After decades of obscurity at the turn of the century in the 2000s and 2010s, vine plantings doubled. Right now the Italian census says there are about 3,000 hectares. It's about 7,500 acres of the variety, although they don't distinguish between the two varieties. They just call it Falanghina. In the past, I tasted a ton of examples. I would judge a lot of wine competitions in the south of Italy, sometimes being on Falanghina flights, and the wines just never really got me excited. They were usually pretty thin, pretty generic, pretty meh. Probably the most famous appellation in Campania is Terre, a volcanic region dedicated to the grape Aglianico. Then you have Fiano di Avellino. Fiano is what I think is one of Italy's greatest white wine grapes, but Falanghina flourishes in those volcanic soils too. And until recently, I just never got really excited about the wine until a producer, which we have here today, sent me one of their barrel fermented Falanghinas, and I thought, wow. And then a couple weeks ago, I did a little mini tour of the Campania region, visited a few producers of Falanghina, and I found the wines to be stunning. I was really shocked. I was posting a lot during my trip in Campania on my Instagram, so if you're not following me, I post different types of content because I'm traveling a lot. I'll put the link in the description box below. When taken seriously, the wines can have substantial body. I think the wines have orange blossom, they're slightly floral, they have some white and some yellow peach type flavors, and they have this nice mineral hint. I have 6 wines here from 4 different producers, and all 6 of these are the best Falanghinas that I have ever personally tasted. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get it. And we're back, tasting out my Gabriel Glas Standart editions. Love these glasses, universal glasses. They're gonna work great with Falanghina, great with all types of wines. I have a link in the description box if you want to check them out. Helps the channel if you purchase with that link, so thank you. I just have to say before we get started how much I love Campania. First of all, amazing food. You have Naples, Neapolitan pizza, some of the best in the world. You have the sea, you have sandy beaches, you have the Amalfi Coast. Then just in a matter of minutes, you're in the mountains where it looks like Switzerland. I was there in the middle of May, and some of the mountains still had snow on them. There's even a ski resort there, even though you're in the south of Italy. Grapes like Aglianico for reds, Piedrogrosso for reds. Then for whites, you have Greco, Fiano, and then Falanghina. Let's start out here with wine number 1. It smells great. I love Italian varieties even when they're vinified into crisp white wines because they have character. A subtle dandelion hit, a little bit of baked apple, but not like Riesling baked apple. Almost like a straw, a yellow white peach, really complex. Just smells nice. This is actually a smoother wine, doesn't have a lot of sharp acidity. I think a lot of people are gonna like this. I wonder if this might be one of the ones that partially see the barrel. A couple here that see a little bit of barrel fermentation. Regardless, it's a good start. Wine 2 is smokier and flintier than wine 1. Similar white peach, baked apple type flavors, but the flintiness and the smokiness really come out. Has a lot of length. Here's the thing with Falanghinas, they're not too sharp, not too acidic, but they're not too fat, they're not too fruity, they're not too mineral. Everything is kind of in balance here. Wine 3 has a lot more creaminess. Like it's been on the lees, like some yogurt type notes. When yeast ferments the juice and the sugar, they die, they fall to the bottom. And a lot of winemakers use them, they stir up these lees, it adds a little bit of creaminess to the wine. Yellow flower, a little riper, bigger bodied white wine. Kind of reminds me of the wines of Friuli, Venezia Giulia, bigger whites, or those of you that like maybe bigger Chardonnays, not necessarily oaky ones. You're gonna be right at home here. I mean, this is really good. Wine 4, I pick up just a touch of wood here, but it's really nice. It's just subtle oak, subtle vanilla. This, I don't think I could tell is Falanghina in a blind tasting. It just smells like pretty serious white wine. A little bit of the dandelion comes out, lemon zest. White peaches. 4 is really good. 4 has a little bit more acidity than the other ones, a little bit more sourness. Really good stuff. Riesling is a different category on its own. But in general, I do think the French are maybe the best in the world at white wines, especially barrel fermented white wines. However, I think Italians bring the most uniqueness. 5 is the most explosive. Lemony, white flower, peach. It is really explosive. 5 is excellent. Exactly what I want in a fresh white wine. Anything but boring. It's explosive, it has complexity. I've tasted all these wines before. I don't know if I've tasted all the vintages. I was impressed with them not blind, and they're showing super well blind. Let's move on to wine number 6 here. Wine 6 shows a touch of wood. It's a little bit more subtle, but you can tell this is serious wine. Lemon zest, a touch of barrel. This has more like Quince type flavors, white Asian pear. It is built to age a little bit. It's not as expressive as these other wines, but it is darn good. Good stuff and different styles of wines. The cool thing about Falanghina is it's not as trendy as Fiano or Greco di Tufo, so you can get them at great prices. There's one wine here that's around 30 to 35 bucks and it's only available in Italy. The rest of them I think you can get around the $25 range and under in Italy, even under 15. I like here that there's diversity too. I thought the wines would be similar. All 6 are quite different wines. Number 2, Flint just jumped out. White peach, baked apple, but the flintiness is really what jumped out. I think it was a wonderful wine, a low scored wine, but I still gave it 90 points. I thought it was very, very, very good wine. Let's take a look and see. This is the Fontanavecchia Falanghina del Sannio 2022 fresh wine. I think in Italy this wine's like 15 euros. I think if you find it in America, it's gonna be more in the $22, $24 range. If you're going to get in on Falanghina, fresh style, easy drinking, but still had some flintiness, which I really enjoyed, 90 points. I thought it was very good. Number 6 here is the next wine. It wasn't as explosive as maybe these other wines here, but I said it was built, I think, to age. Had a touch of barrel, white Asian pear type flavors, more white fruit flavors, while some of these other ones had some yellow fruit flavors. Gave it 90 plus points, just a touch of barrel. Let's take a look and see. Same producers. This is the Fontanavecchia Libero. This is the owner's name. I was just at this estate. Falanghina 2019. This wine is partially aged in the barrel, which I picked it up here. I haven't tasted any aged examples, but one of my friends says it ages very well. 90 plus points. I think it was wonderful. I think that wine is like 29 bucks in the US. Fontanavecchia also makes fantastic Aglianico at all different price points. Okay, number 4. I tasted the wood, lemon zest, white peach flavors, but the wood and the lemon zest really popped for this wine. I gave it 91 points. Let's take a look. Wow, here. This is the Terre Stregate. This is the Caracara 2018 Falanghina. Terre Stregate, which means the land of witches. There's old legends there that witches exist. They have absolutely beautiful vineyards right under Mount Taberno. This is the wine that was the most expensive. I think in the winery it's like 30, 35 euros. When I tasted it not blind, I said it was the best Falanghina that I've ever tasted. But obviously, we see right here the power of blind tasting. It didn't score the highest. Made in small quantities. It was explosive. It's a little bit bigger. It sees a little bit more lees contact. I'm surprised. I thought that would maybe score the highest blind. All these wines here go from 90 to 92, so they're all pretty similar quality. It's just a matter if you can find them, and I recommend giving them a try. Number 1 is next, 91 plus points as well. Barrel fermented dandelion, the baked appleness. That's what really came out. Not like quite like Riesling, but it did have some baked apple-like flavors. And look at what we have. Agricola San Salvatore 1988 Falanghina 2022. This runs in around 25 to 29 bucks. I know one vintage of this was in Wine Spectator's top 100 wines of last year. I remember first tasting this wine, this producer, at some random wine competition I was at, and I was impressed with this wine immediately. I finally got the chance to visit them. Also make buffalo mozzarella. That's why you have a little buffalo on the label. Good stuff. It's so funny because it's a wine that I tasted first. I knew nothing about the producer, and then when I visited a few weeks ago, it was still my favorite of their fresh white wines. And blind, it also still showed really well. So that was 91 plus. I'm sorry, this was 91. This next one, wine number 5, was also 91 plus points. Explosive white flower zest lemon. Here's the thing. It was a fresh white wine, not barrel fermented, but the explosiveness and the length is what impressed me. Maybe it's a wine that doesn't age as well as maybe some of these ones that saw a little bit of barrel, but right now it's really showing me something. I gave it 91 plus points. Let's take... This is the Terre Stregate, land of witches, same as this. This is their basic wine. Svlato, Falanghina del Sannio, DOP, 2022. This wine, I think in the US is like 22 bucks, maybe even less than that. The reason I say that is because I know in Italy they're a lot less. I think it's under 15 euros. I was impressed tasting this not blind, and I think it's outstanding. It's a very, very, very good wine, especially fresh, but it has some seriousness. The top wine, this is the wine that first changed my mind when it came to Falanghina. It's the very first wine. This was years and years ago. and it's amazing that it shows this well. Creamy, bigger bodied, flintier. I could tell that it had some barrel, it had some lees contact to build up the body. That's the one when I went on the spiel about it. I gave it 92 points. I thought it was very, very, very good. And look what this is. This is the Tenuta Cavalier Pepe. This is the Vigna Vara. This is a single vineyard Falanghina 2020, 13% alcohol, barrel fermented. I know in Italy this is 15 euros. I don't know what it is in the States. I bet you it's like 20 to 25 bucks. Awesome wine, worth checking out. Of the 4 producers here, this is one I have not visited yet, but I have to make it there sooner rather than later. She's in the town of Avellino. I like the diversity here. You have everything that would go with more maybe cream chicken sauces. Something fresh like this would be more like seafood frito misto. Like I said, these are the 6 best examples that I've ever tasted of the grape variety, and they didn't disappoint here today. So tell me, have you ever had a grape change your mind? Or maybe have you tried Falanghina before? What do you think about it? Drop it in the comments below. I'll see you soon.